Hello, friends. Today's episode is brought to you by From Within Records. Episode 33 of the From Within Records podcast is out now, featuring the DFJ tier list breakdown. Pretty interesting tier list. I hope all of you take the time and listen. DFJ has been in so many awesome bands. This was a great listen. If you're not subscribed to the From Within Records podcast, please do yourself a favor. Go boot up Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast, and please subscribe to the From Within Records podcast. It's awesome. If you're not following From Within Records on social media, please go boot up X, boot up Instagram, click that follow button to stay up to date on all the current news. And like I always say, please support From Within Records because they support us. If you're looking for high quality merch for your band or for your business, please hit up my friends over at Good Fortune Printing out of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. You can follow them on Instagram at Good Fortune Printing, or if you want to get in contact with them, please email them contact@goodfortuneprinting.com. You can thank me later. Before we get into today's guests, I have amazing news. I will be traveling to Wilkes-Barre at the end of the month for the End of Summer Skate Jam put on by one of our guests today, Caleb. And I'm so excited. I could not believe the first one didn't get shut down. The videos were insane. The second one looked even more fun. And I just always question myself, why have I not attended one of Caleb's End of Summer Skate Jams? So my goal for 2024 was to finally make it happen. It just makes sense. I love Wilkes-Barre. I love Caleb. So I just needed to attend. And I've been looking for a reason to go to Wilkes-Barre. And this is it. So I'm very excited to travel there at the end of the month. I'm excited to see all my friends. I'm excited to just breathe the air. It's going to be so fun, and I cannot wait. I'm very much looking forward to it. Like, I was excited for KCON, right? I'm still getting over the awesome weekend that I had over at KCON, but now we're switching focus to traveling back to Wilkes-Barre because I haven't been there in years, which is unfortunate. Last time I was there, I saw Drain, Koyo. I can't remember who was on the bill, but this was at Carl Hall. Carl Hall's not even open anymore. That's how long ago it was. And if I'm being honest, I'm trying to remember that trip off the top of my head. And I think that was when I went to Philly and recorded that interview by the river with Bob. I think that was it. I don't know. I don't think I'll have time for an interview like that this time, but we're definitely going to be filming some cool shit for the vlog. So here's my shameless plug to the YouTube. Thank you, everybody who supports the YouTube channel. I appreciate all of you. It's fun making stuff. Like, obviously, the podcast, this goes there, but all the extra stuff. The KCON vlogs that I have not uploaded yet, but there are 2 because I didn't go day 1. But I will be filming some cool stuff when we're at the skate jam, and I'm very excited for a very particular reason, which I will share once I'm there because I will be able to share the cool news. But on today's episode, we track down our good friend Caleb Hartnett, Nate Riot. They play in a new Wilkes-Barre band, which is always awesome to say. New Wilkes-Barre band, the Peace Corps. If you're not familiar, they released their demo not that long ago. So please, if you're not familiar, hit pause, go boot up Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Bandcamp, YouTube, whatever. Go listen to the Peace Corps. Then come back here and listen to Caleb, Nate, and I just chop it up about so many awesome things. And Caleb also plays in choice to make. Nate also plays in OK Buddy, which is one of my favorite bands currently, to make sure to support the other bands that they're in. And it was just awesome. I'm always humbled to be able to have anybody from their area on because I'm such a fan. I love it there. So please strap in, enjoy this conversation. Without further ado, welcome Caleb and Nate to the show. All right, and we're recording. Welcome back to the podcast, Caleb, and welcome to the podcast for the first time, Nate. How's it going, guys?
Hey, Jamie. What up?
How's it going?
Dude, this is awesome. You know, I speak to Jeff pretty much every day, but it's always nice to be able to talk to other people from the Wilkes-Barre area. So this is always an exciting thing for me because I'm such a fan of the area. And the people from there. So I'm happy to have you guys on the podcast today.
Thanks, dude. Honestly, it's awesome how much you love Scranton, Wilkes-Barre area.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah. Thanks for having us, for real. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you. This is something that I've been looking forward to for a while. So I'm glad you guys were able to make time and make this happen. So I'm just stoked to have you guys on today. I appreciate your time.
Of course, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm curious because you guys both play in a newer band, the Peace Corps. I'm just curious how that band came together.
Honestly, it came from me and TK talking about how we needed more local bands to open shows. That's still an issue that we're dealing with. There's a lot of younger kids coming to shows, but I think a lot of them are a little nervous to put themselves out there, start a band, play in front of people and whatnot. But just to keep the ball rolling and get a new energy out there, we were talking about starting something new, and we're throwing around ideas for like styles of hardcore that would be great to have, and people that would be awesome to have in the band and stuff like that. And then, we all kind of came together. Nate's been coming out to Wilkes-Barre shows and now is a resident of the area.
As of today.
Yeah, right.
Oh, today's the first day.
We're like
this
recording,
is the new apartment.
Yeah, tonight's my first night in the new apartment that we're in currently right now.
Yeah.
Wait, you guys live together?
No.
No.
I live a couple blocks that way.
Yeah.
Okay. That's wild.
Sorry, the beginning of the piece.
Oh yeah. So yeah, Nate's been coming to shows and booking shows and playing in bands in this area for a while now. But I don't know. It just seemed like it made so much sense for him to be in a hardcore band with all of us because we're all friends and all that. And Baby Bri, they haven't been in a band in a little bit. They were in this band Acupuncture, which was like members of Warren. But that band hasn't been a thing in a little bit, so they wanted to do something again. And Ross, well, there's a long story there, but TK is not in the band anymore because he was stressed out over a situation with a person that I won't get into it. And he had to leave the band on his own. He was like, I can't do this right now. We were like, that's a bummer, but we totally understand. And I took over on vocals, and Ross helped fill in on guitar, and then just kind of permanently took over. Tommy hasn't been in a band in a while, and like ever since he wasn't really touring or playing with OSC anymore. And he's an amazing person and really good drummer.
Incredible drummer.
So we were like that. I don't know. It just made the most sense for all those people to play in it, and it worked out pretty organically. As far as like the sound and stuff, me and TK were talking about like Rival Mob, Criminal Instinct, Hounds of Hate, Hard Stripes, 86 Mentality, like that style of hardcore being like such a great style, but not overdone currently.
Well, I mean, I remember when you texted me originally about doing the band, your specific text was something along the lines of, paraphrasing, but with these exact words. You were like, hey, just kind of reaching out to see if you would be interested in joining this band. It's going to sound like the Rival Mob. Of course, you said hardcore band, but you know what I mean? It was just, when you defined that sound, you said the Rival Mob. That was like the first band you used to describe that. So yeah, I would definitely say that was one of the biggest influences for sure for the sound when you were writing the riffs from a listener standpoint.
It's the best hardcore band. Period.
Sure.
Best hardcore band of the past 30 years.
I saw a video with you on vocals, Caleb, and I had heard that you were in the band, but you played guitar. So when I saw the video, I'm like, wait, did I get that wrong? But then they're like, oh no, he was just filling in on vocals. And then come to find out now that it turned into a permanent thing, which I thought was awesome.
Oh yeah. For more context, so me and TK worked on the lyrics and everything together, and then we had to re-record the demo, so we recorded it twice, and there was just like stress with that whole process and everything, and
which is why it took so long to get the demo out in the first place.
Yeah, seriously, we played I think 4 shows before the demo came out. But
each show we were like, hey, demo's coming out, 2 weeks.
It's crazy, yeah. And, I mean, TK's in Wild Red and Choice to Make, and he works a full-time job and does a lot. So I think all of that just became a little too much for him, and he had to bow out, which was a major bummer. But it got us to where we're at now, like this current formation. A pretty new, pretty small band, but a really fun thing to do.
Yeah, I think it's awesome just to see a new band from the area, because there was things popping up like, I thought the Fire could have been a cool thing, and then Crashing Down. But those didn't really take off anywhere. But, obviously like the staples from the area are still around doing cool stuff, which I like, but it's always interesting. And I'm always curious to see like what new will pop up from the area. So when those things popped up and didn't really go anywhere, I was kind of bummed. So to see the demo come out and see you guys actually, making traction with it, I'm like, all right, cool. I think this could be like the band that actually, pops up and sticks around.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's, kind of our hope. I think the main idea is just to keep it going. Just keep it going and keep playing shows, write music, as long as it's fun and, like, not stressful for us. Because I think that was a big issue.
We all play in other bands. You have a shop, you have a skate shop. I mean, we all have jobs. It's not like we're trying to tour full time with this band. I mean, again, that was another thing in like the original conversation when you reached out to me. You were like, is it just for fun? Like, we're not trying to stress ourselves out with this band. And we ended up stressing ourselves out a little bit at the beginning. But now it's just like 100% fun. You know what I mean? Like, it's just 100%. We just do what we think is going to be fun. You know what I mean? Yeah.
A pretty heavy bump in the road, but everything before and after has been
literally
just
awesome.
Very low stress, just fun. And that's the thing. Even like Tommy, not to speak for him, but I knew one of the issues that he had with playing in One Step Closer was just touring was so constant and so exhausting that it was kind of taking a toll on his mental health a little bit. And I think that's kind of where we're at, where it's like we all have full-time jobs. We all have other bands and other passions. And just like anything else we love, we want to do it while it's fun and just do it for the pure love of writing and playing.
Hardcore. And yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I think we all like play in like bands that are definitely in the hardcore realm. And like I guess you do play in Choice to Mix. That's like definitely like straightforward hardcore band. But I guess I'm speaking for myself. Like I was so stoked to just play in a regular like straightforward hardcore band. Again, it's cool to have another band like that that's just straightforward HC from Wilkes-Barre.
Oh yeah. It's been a while, I think, since new hardcore demos come out of Wilkes-Barre. Too long, in my opinion.
When I first listened to the demo, I was really surprised at how your vocal sounded. I almost didn't believe that it was you. I was like, damn, is that really Caleb? He sounds so different.
I think that's the only reason I'm able to listen to it, because I can't listen to my own voice. It stresses me out.
But he sounds awesome on that demo.
Yeah, no, you sound sick.
I know, I can't believe it's him either. Like
I don't sound like me. That's why it sounds.
No. I'm just saying, like, I didn't expect that voice to like necessarily come from you, and it's like, whoa, it's awesome. Yeah, I love it. Yeah,
Thanks.
It's sick.
Hell yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
100%. And also, there's a lot of samples. Can you talk about where the samples come from and whose idea it was to use that? Because it's like a constant theme. It's like all from like the same movie, correct?
Yeah, it's from Full Metal Jacket. I think, I don't know. I mean, it's a good movie. I love it. But I think the main concept is the idea behind the name and just the vibe of the band is, I don't know, like the juxtaposition between like a really positive front, but with like a real dark, like, I don't know how to describe it, but
yeah, I feel like the sample's kind of explaining why like we're a hardcore band in such an aggressive world and why we have the name Peace Corps. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's like what one of the things that you wanted to really kind of say is like when he's talking about the duality of man, that's kind of like what the kind of the name is. That's what I interpreted from it. I don't know if that's what you were trying to go for.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, I think a big thing with like punk music and hardcore is it's the aggravation that comes from wanting positive things but not being able to obtain them. And I think that's just a good example, is just taking two things from the opposite end of the spectrum. Like, I mean, core, you think of like Marine Corps and things that aren't so peaceful and kind, you know, and then taking peace and the two together just sound pretty contrasting. I don't know if any of what I said made sense, but that's all I can get out.
Well, I mean, I think too, like, as far as for me, I'm not trying to speak for everyone, but as far as for me, I think the sample also is like a defying authority kind of like vibe, because like it's like the senior like officer or whatever asking, I think it's a colonel in the movie, he's asking, you know, the private, you know, like why he has this peace button. It's not a part of the uniform. Like, he's not necessarily allowed to wear that. And it's like he's like giving his reason of why he should be an individual instead of stand out, or instead of just fit in with the crowd. And so I don't know. There's like a lot of ways that those samples tie in. But yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a big fan of samples in movies, and I don't know. Any opportunity I get to source from movies that I love and different like inspirations and utilize that in a band or whatever, I want to take advantage of that opportunity.
I also felt a little full circle too, because when you mentioned the Full Metal Jacket thing, I don't recommend it, but I was actually in the Marine Corps, so it just definitely felt like a little bit of a full circle moment. Even though I had a little bit of a not great experience with that, it was still cool to like have that in there and play.
Yeah, I enjoyed them because it reminds me of like the early 2000s. Because like growing up in that era, it seemed like a lot of bands were using samples. So whenever bands do it, today in like the modern era, it always just feels like a cool throwback.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's one of my favorite things, and it drives me crazy when bands don't utilize sound clips well. I mean, I don't know. I can't think of any examples where a band doesn't, but it's an art form, sampling in general, that I admire when it's done well. And the early 2000s was like prime for that.
100%.
Even like power violence bands from that era, like Charles Bronson, was notorious for using so many sound clips, but everyone was like had the perfect amount of like wittiness and like interesting source material, and would end up getting me into different movies and other bands and other whatever.
Yeah, I think my favorite might be First Blood. Just the samples that they use would just made it feel so epic. Just like stuff right before breakdowns, and oh god, they're so good.
Oh, yeah. What's an example?
Where they have the song Suffocate, where it's just like you just hear like the helicopters coming in, and then yeah, because they First Blood uses a lot of stuff from like Rambo and like First Blood. Yeah,
that's yeah, totally. I love that.
Yeah, it's so sick. And then like I don't know if you guys ever listen to like Suicide Silence, but I always like to think back to like their demo. They just used a lot of Family Guy sound bites.
Oh really?
Yeah. Yeah, and those are just like funny because like you think of this crazy metal band, and then like here comes like these like funny Family Guy sound clips, and it's just like, wow, this is so insane, because it's like these funny clips, but then it's like, oh shit, we're about to go into like this crazy breakdown, like shit's about to get crazy.
Oh my god, yeah, that's the best, dude. Yeah, I don't know, I'm sure that random examples will pop into my brain throughout the rest of our convo, so I'll just throw it out anytime I think of one.
And I'm curious, who did the artwork for the cover of the demo? Because I think it's so clever and so cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's me. I don't know.
To
be honest, I had that idea for a decent amount of time.
You had that artwork drawn like January. Like the band was like formed. We had like one practice, and we were like, "Here's the demo cover," and it was like, we were like, "Oh, that's so sick! Like that's awesome!" Yeah, and like again, Caleb killed that artwork. Like the second I saw it, I was like, "This is awesome!" I agreed. I really love the artwork and all this stuff.
Yeah, no, I just think it's so clever with like the broken peace symbol and the C. It's just
There's that War Hungry shirt where it's like this big. It looks like a sumo wrestler dude chomping into a peace symbol, and that's making the U in hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Like the bottom half of the peace symbol with the chunks flying out. It's so sick.
Yeah,
I'll have to see a picture of that shirt because it's my favorite.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm really interested because I love the artwork. It's super sick, and I hope you guys use that for more stuff, not just the demo cover.
I think that'll be on almost everything.
Yeah,
I mean, as until people get sick of it, I guess.
Yeah,
or until any of you guys get sick.
I'm cool with keeping it.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And I also love that you guys stamp the Wilkes-Barre hardcore on there just to let people know where it's from.
Of course.
Yeah, always got a rep. That's I don't know.
Yeah,
you could talk about Wilkes-Barre hardcore for a little bit. I feel
because I've been here longer than you.
I'm honestly really curious, Nate, how you got so involved and like where you originally came from, because like earlier you mentioned this is your first day actually living in Wilkes-Barre, which I'm like super jealous of, but I'm just curious about like your story, because like I mentioned earlier, I talk to Jeff all the time, and anytime he mentions you or you get brought up, it's always very positive. So I take that very serious coming from Jeff, because I like him a lot, and him and I get along really well, so like we see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. So when he speaks highly of someone, I'm always intrigued and curious.
Well, I really appreciate that, and I can definitely agree with that because I also think very highly of Jeff. So to hear that he thinks highly of me at all is a huge compliment. And actually, Jeff is like probably the biggest reason I'm even involved with Wilkes-Barre hardcore. So I'll get to that, but I'm originally from Gettysburg, and then like in 2018 I moved to like Selinsgrove area. So I'm like not even from this side of the state. Like I'm from a very different like the southern part of the state, I guess you'd say. But I right after I got out, while I was in the military, I was looking for bands that were Pennsylvania because I was missing home kind of thing. And basically just started finding hardcore bands that were from Pennsylvania. And I guess there were more bands that were in the hardcore scene. I wouldn't call them, straightforward hardcore bands, but bands like Jesus Peace, Code Orange, I kind of found and kind of got me into the world a little bit. So then when I got a little bit, got done with my time in the Marine Corps, I started going to shows. And I went to a lot of shows in Philly. And then I found out that Wilkes-Barre had a scene, which was much closer because Philly's like 3 hours from me. So I was driving 3 hours to a lot of Ben Stuckey's shows out in Bethlehem, out in Media, just a lot of those shows, some of the first Unitarian ones. But then I learned, again, like Wilkes-Barre had a scene and it was an hour and a half. So it's much, much shorter drive than 3 hours than I was doing. I think one of the first Wilkes-Barre shows I was at was the OSC record release for this place,
You were there.
Yeah, you were there. Yeah.
I was there. Yeah, I flew out for that. It was in that firehouse, Sweet Pea, right? Sweet Pea, or
yes, yeah, Sweet Valley.
Oh, Sweet Valley. Okay.
Valley Fire. Yeah. So that was one of my first that was one of my first Wilkes-Barre shows, and then I just started going to a bunch of the Carl Hall shows. Just whenever there was a show in Wilkes-Barre and I could make it, I was pretty much here just because it was so much closer. And I really would much rather go here than Philly kind of thing. So basically, I was at the OSC, or no, it was the Bizarre Skate Jam, the first one you did.
Oh, yeah,
with, OSC, Warren, Soul Blind, End It. Yes. And I got there early because it was like a thing where you could show up early and skate. And I am not a skater, but I'm all about just kind of experiencing different cultures that I'm not a part of. And skateboarding is like a really, really intriguing thing to me that I always wish I could be a part of, but never was able to because I grew up on a farm kind of deal. So I went early to this thing and I didn't know anybody. I literally knew nobody. I would go to shows and really not talk to anybody because I was pretty shy. I still kind of am shy if I don't know who you are. And basically just was standing there watching people skate, watching Caleb set up for the show and all that. And Jeff was there early and just kind of setting his gear up.
Is that when you met Jeff?
It was literally I think I might have been a familiar face. It had to have been first or second time meeting him. And he just noticed that I was just kind of waiting there for the show to start kind of thing. Because again, he definitely seen me at shows before, but I don't know that we really knew each other super well at that point. But he was just yo, you want to go grab a water with me at the gas station? And that meant a whole lot to me. The fact that I knew nobody there and I knew that he was someone that had been at every show in the past 10, 15 years maybe. I don't know. The fact that he was just yo, you want to go grab a water? And he was just talking to me, asking me questions. That made an impression on me that I hadn't had before, I guess. It was different. It was different than, not that I hadn't made friends in any other scene, but there was just a certain aspect to Wilkes-Barre that just there was a care, a mutual care that I don't know. It was really cool. So Jeff really was the reason that I found and started finding a community and now I have a community in Wilkes-Barre. So
yeah, and now you live there.
Yeah, finally. Yeah.
So
it was crazy. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, it was crazy. He was driving 2.5 hours to OK Buddy practice, and then an hour to Peace Corps practice.
An hour and a half.
Hour and a half, yeah. And the amount of time you spent driving to band practice back and forth, it just made so much sense for you to like actually live in this area. Yeah. I don't know. And it's cool now. It's like we won't just hang out because of practice now. It's like we can go to the movies and get dinner and like the whole crew can hang out.
Yeah. No, and I have like a handful of friends back where I'm from, but like it's the amount of things that you can do over there. I lived in the middle of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like I really appreciate that there's community and opportunity to just, you know, have a vegetarian meal for once. You know, that's going to be nice.
Hard to come by in the woods.
It's very hard to come by in the woods.
That is funny, but that's cool. And how long were you toying with the idea of like moving to Wilkes-Barre, or is that something that just kind of came really fast?
No, it didn't really come fast at all. Like I definitely knew, like even last year, like a year ago, I was definitely like looking, like at one point I was looking at, you know, like outside of Philly kind of thing. But number one, it's just so expensive to live out there. And then it would mean I'd have to like get a new job kind of deal. And it would just mean a lot more things for me. So this way I can keep the job that I still have. And I knew that it was much less, you know, getting it, you know, cost of living is what I'm trying to say. It's cost of living is much, much cheaper out here than it is anywhere, you know, Lancaster, Philly area. So I knew I was looking out here, but it was just a matter of switching up my life situation, because I obviously have a dog. Sorry, he's in on the interview too, but
that's awesome.
A lot to move both of us, but we're finally here.
Yeah, Jeff was trying to get me to move out just recently. He was like, you should just move out here. And him and I were on Zillow just like looking at places, and yeah, it's pretty affordable out there.
It definitely is. I don't know. I feel like being in Orange County, California is like so cool.
It's cool.
Like I love where I'm from, but I don't know. I guess grass is greener sometimes, but I don't know. I mean, I love it, so I'm not going to tell you not to.
Yeah, no, I think it is, because obviously, like, I've lived in Orange County since 2011, 2010, like late 2010, early 2011, because I remember like one of the first things I did was I went to a New Year's Eve show. It was the American Nightmare New Year's Eve show in LA. It was like American Nightmare, Touche, and Trash Talk. It was amazing. But I love it here too. But I moved out here when I was like 21, and you know, I'm still pretty much the same person, but the things that I value now versus back then are just like totally different. And I just realized that I could move somewhere else and still be happy, because I was always just so sure that like it has to be California, it has to be near Disneyland, like anywhere else would be miserable. But
I was gonna say Disney World is a decent drive from Wilkes-Barre, so I don't know.
No, but it's fine. But it's fine, because I feel like I have done Disney, like, because you got to think, I was like going to Disney so often from like even before I moved to Orange County. So you got to think like probably like 2009 all the way up until the pandemic. I was going like an insane amount, and it stopped because of the pandemic. And then after the pandemic, it just was very different and wasn't as fun. So that definitely slowed down. And I've been a couple times this year, but yeah, this is probably like the least amount of times that I've ever gone since I've lived out here. But I'm okay with that, because for as often as I went, it's like, you know, not much has changed. And like, also like, as weird as it sounds, like the culture of being in the park is way different, because like, you know, we used to have like our circle of friends that we would know so many people who would go so often, but I don't know anybody who goes like we used to.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, for what you'd be giving up in Disneyland, you'd be gaining in Knoebels, which I don't know if you've been there yet, but that's the same situation for us with Knoebels.
Okay. Well, I've only driven through there because Shane and I did like their Christmas drive-through one year.
Really?
Yeah, and it was cool. It was awesome. I was very happy to see the park all lit up at night, but I'm dying to experience it like during the day, like normal operating hours and normal rides.
Have you seen the movie Adventureland?
Yes.
So, I know it's based in Pennsylvania, that movie. I don't know if it's directly inspired by Knoebels, but the vibe of Adventureland is basically the exact vibe of Knoebels. Take that however you will. I love that place. So.
I can't remember. I can't remember who was all there, but it was definitely Shane was definitely there because I was at his house. But we watched like so many just like walkthroughs of Knoebels and people going and eating at all the different food spots. So I feel like I know the park. I just haven't actually been there to experience all of it.
Dude, well, I don't know if you're still coming up this summer, but if you are, we'll make a point to go because I've only been once this summer, which is crazy.
Yeah, what?
I really have told you the best part about Knoebels is you don't have to pay for things you don't want. You can walk in and walk out and not do anything if you want to. Yeah,
and to me that's crazy because obviously to enter any kind of like theme park or fair out here, like there is like an admission fee.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean it is basically like frozen in time in the 70s, 80s. Like whatever it looked like back then is basically how it looks right now.
And I think that's it. Yeah, because it's like this awesome, just like period in time that just has never changed. Which is because like out here, like I live in the city, so everything is just so fast moving. There's constant new development. Everything's changing. Like even the things you love. Like I love Disney, but Disney today is way different than Disney back in 2010.
Yeah, I mean honestly, I think one of the great things about this specific area is you're close enough to places that are constantly progressing and moving forward that you're not completely lost on what's going on. But I mean, if there's certain things like Knoebels and certain food spots and bars where they basically are frozen in time, so you can have that comfort while still being able to be connected to the outside world in a way, if that makes sense. I don't know. But
yeah, I remember one of the last times I was there, I asked Nate Prosciutti, I was like, hey, where's the nearest K-pop shop? And he looked at me, he's like, what the hell are you talking about? And I was like, where's the nearest K-pop shop? So we looked it up, and the nearest K-pop shop was in New York. So I was like, oh shit. I was like, okay, this might be like the one bad thing is like I can't just drive to a local K-pop store to pick up some new albums.
Yeah, if the nearest one was in New York, that means they don't have any in Philly or Baltimore either, because I think traffic considered, those places are technically closer than the city.
Yeah. But that was the only downside. Other than that, I think, and also I always question myself. I'm like, maybe it's because I'm always on vacation when I go out there. That's why I think this place is like so awesome, and I just love it.
Yeah, there's definitely I've had that experience before.
Yeah, and most of the time that I go, it's around Halloween time. So like Nate's house is always all decorated. His neighborhood's like has a bunch of houses that are decorated. So it's just like such a cool and different vibe from what I have out here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that kind of energy it lasts all year round, but there definitely are a lot of drawbacks about living here. I guess like any other place, I don't know.
Well, we got Jerry's.
Yes, Jerry's. I tried to get Jeff to pick me up an application because I had called Jerry's. I'm like, yo, are you guys hiring? And they're like, yeah, we're hiring. Come pick up an application. And I told Jeff, I'm like, yo, go down to Jerry's and grab me an application, and I'll quit my job and move to Wilkes-Barre and figure it out. And he told me no. He's like, I'm not going to pick you up an application. And I was like, dude, you're supposed to be my friend. Just go grab one.
I don't know why that seems so strange to me to work at Jerry's. I think it's because I've seen the same 10 people working there
Yeah.
for my entire life. I can imagine walking in and seeing you behind the counter. But I would love to see that. So,
I would be so full of life, and they'd be like, "Wow, this guy is so enthusiastic and kind of strange." But
yeah, yeah, definitely. Don't work at Angelo's though. We have friends that have experienced that. It's great to eat there, but that's about it. Great pizza. Yeah.
yeah, it was always. I felt more at home at Jerry's versus going to Angelo's. So
It's made with love.
Yeah, I think that's the consistent vibe between the two. But Angelo's definitely holds a special place in my heart because, coming to shows in this area when I first started going, 2010, 2011-ish, the routine or tradition was you go to the show and then everyone at the show goes to Angelo's.
mm-hmm.
And no matter how pissed off everyone that worked there was and how aggressive the energy was, it still was the thing to do. And I'm a sucker for camaraderie and a gathering of friends and whatnot. So
yeah,
I don't know. There's a special place in my heart for Angelo's, but Jerry's is definitely the more welcoming.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Inviting
The other day, it was very good.
Yeah.
Angelo's just reminds me of Good Fortune since it's so close by.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the Hive, but I don't know if you ever got to go there.
No, I got to go in there before it closed, but I never got to go to a show.
Oh, gotcha. Well, there's a new venue at least. So
Yeah, that's honestly some of the most exciting Wilkes-Barre news. Not only is there, I feel more shows happening right now more than ever. Or I shouldn't say more than
Yeah,
ever. I didn't mean more than I definitely don't mean to say more than ever.
More than it's been in a while.
More than it's been in a while is definitely what I meant to say. Not than ever for sure. But it just feels like there's a lot going on. The new venue is probably the coolest thing about that.
Yeah.
And wait, which venue's the new venue? Because I know of Doug's Boardroom, the Spaceman.
Yeah, so Grumps is the name of it. It's
okay.
Did you get to go to Shop Sunny the last time you were here? I'm not even sure if it was open.
No.
So basically, one of my longtime best friends and his new time best friends, Kate, her mom owns the building that Doug's is in, and her boyfriend runs Doug's, which is actually a cornhole place. But he loves shows. I don't think he's in on the music and all that, but he loves the energy and the kids and the vibe and all of that. So he lets shows happen there. And then, Spaceman's great, but it's kind of limited when we can have shows there and it's pretty small. Kate's mom also owns a building right down the street from Shop Sunny. And there was already a stage built in the one main room, which will be Grumps. And, it's just a perfect space to have shows. And Kate's mom literally just gave us the green light to make that our venue and to make that our space. And, we have 2 shows booked there so far and a couple more in the works there. And, we'll see how it all works out, but really excited.
And was this the place where there was a last minute show because it had to get moved?
Close. That was a thrown together thing, but that's your story to tell now.
So, yeah, I booked the Strength for a Reason show with Fool's Game, Fire in the Blood, Last Ride, and Headless World. And it was supposed to be outside at Curry Donuts. And I was checking the weather all week, literally many times a day, and it was looking great. It was looking super hot and just sun. And I was that's more of what I was worried about, honestly. It was just people being so hot. I had tents, or I had a tent just planned for people to just chill under. And so I get to Wilkes-Barre the day of, and again, I'm checking the weather, And when I get there, it says that there's rain coming at 7 o'clock, which was not on my radar at all. So I immediately called Caleb, and he was like, yeah, call Kate. And so I called Kate, and I was like, is there any way that possibly Doug's could have a show tonight? Because it's going to get rained out, or possibly canceled altogether if we don't. And she called Doug immediately. It wasn't available that night. There was some cornhole happening. So she said, but let me make some calls. So she calls me back like 3 minutes later, and she's like, I have a spot right by Shop Sunny. And she's like, my mom just said that we can use it. And if you want to have it, you can do it. And pretty much sight unseen, she tried to FaceTime me, but her phone died, unfortunately. But I was just like, is it bigger than Spacement? And she was like, yep. I was like, all right, I'm on my way over. And I was with the guy that was doing the sound. I was like, just follow me. So we head over, and it was pretty much just like an empty room. Like there was just drywall, there was a fridge, there was a kitchen area. Like it was just an empty room. And we set up the show there. The show there. Yeah.
It was so perfect. That week was like a very good sign for our area. That show, just being able to figure something out last minute, and then the turnout and just the energy in that room.
And again, shout out, like the biggest shout out ever to Kate for like making that happen last minute. Because as soon as she said Doug's was unavailable, I really was thinking I was going to have to text all the bands like 2 hours, not even 2 hours, an hour and a half before the show, and just be like, no show. And that's the worst, because some of the bands are traveling, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so again, endless thank you to Kate for making that happen, because it's all because of her that show was awesome. But a lot of people ended up walking away from that show saying that it was probably a better vibe than maybe Curry Donuts would have been, because it still was very hot in that room, but it might have been hotter if it wouldn't have rained, kind of thing at Curry Donuts. So, yeah.
And just curious about the name of this place. Who named it? The new venue.
So just for clarification, the exact same spot. It's a little bit different of a spot. It's like the same area, and like
it's
owned by
about
the
a
same.
block away.
Yeah, it's just a block away, but it's
Mm-hmm.
actually not the exact same room at the Strength for Reason show.
Yeah, that room is there are plans for what that's going to be used for. Whereas this room, which is a little smaller, but a good size for like a standard show, as opposed to like a tiny gig or like a big event. But the name, it's a reference to the Red Barons.
Okay. And it was Grums, was it? Right.
So the Red Barons was the Phillies farm team, and it was like the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Red Barons, and their mascot is the Grump. So it's defunct now. The Phillies farm team is closer to Philly, and now we have the Rail Riders, which is the farm team for the Yankees, which a lot of people aren't happy about.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
In that. I mean, I love going to games there still, but the Red Barons was such a classic team.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's awesome. I love the lore behind it.
Yeah. So, I think it was pretty appropriate. We're all big Red Barons fans.
Okay. And
what's that?
You mentioned
If you gotta give him a walk.
Just one quick sec. Yeah.
All right.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Earlier you mentioned if I was going to fly out, is it okay to talk about that, or do you want to hold off till it's more official?
No, I don't care. Now it's official enough that I can talk about it.
Okay. Right. Break it down. The floor is yours.
Oh, the end is when is this airing? I guess it doesn't matter, but
Yeah, soon.
all right. Excuse me. So it's going to be August 24th. There's a lot of other things going on that day, but I mean, I don't know. It just worked out as best as I could have hoped for. And like Gel is going to headline. They just confirmed on Friday. And that's awesome. I'm excited for that. Amierde from New Jersey is also playing. I believe half that band lives in LA now. So it worked out time-wise where everyone that lives out in LA is back in New Jersey for that week. And then Peace Corps is going to open No Exceptions, which is relatively new, like Delaware, like Philly area hardcore band. They're opening up the Gorilla Biscuits show in New Jersey the next weekend. They're playing, and then right now I'm working on finding a co-headliner with Gel. But I mean, even if I can, those 4 bands alone I think would make for a great night, along with the skating aspect, which is always like, I don't know, that's the whole point. You know. But I mean, more than anything, the past 2 years previous were incredible. It's always really fun, and it's basically like a church bazaar, but with like skating, punk music, tattoos. Happy tattoo. My buddy Chris, he's gonna be tattooing at the jam. We'll have food and a lot of other fun stuff. I won't spoil all the fun surprises for those going.
Okay.
Those will be like when you show up, you'll see the fun stuff we have planned. But
that's awesome.
That's kind of the idea.
Yeah, I'm happy that you're continuing to do it, because it just seems like such a cool and fun thing to look forward to, especially towards the end of summer every year.
Yeah, thanks. I don't know. It's exciting. It was Matt Wren's idea more than any of ours. Because, we did like a little skate jam at a Scranton skate park. And they had been having shows at Curry Donuts for a while. But after we did like a Go Skate Day jam a couple years ago, Matt was like, oh, it'd be a good idea to do that, but at Curry Donuts, and then have bands play after. And I kind of took that idea, stole it, and then ran with it. And me and Tom and all of our friends that help us make the shop exist just got together and like put together a lineup for bands and built ramps, because it, like when we have gyms at skate parks, it's easy because everything's already there. But this is just a big parking lot, so we literally like build ramps by hand and then store them for the next year or whenever we want to pull them out to use them. So I don't know. We built a stage last year, and we're gonna do that again. We're gonna try to scale it up a little bit, because last year it was like the band played on the stage and the vocalist was on the ground. Which that always drives me crazy. So we're going to scale that up. We have the layout already planned. We'll have more like booths of like our friends' local businesses. Like I said, Chris will be tattooing. Different stuff like that. Lucas from Syracuse, he does Illegal and Free, that skate zine, skate art zine. So he'll be there with like a little table set up, and yeah, there will be a lot of fun stuff. And we're really trying to go for that like church bazaar energy, but for punks and skaters.
I had no idea Matt Wren, had any, like attachment to this. So to hear you say his name, I'm like, wow, that guy's, always a part of cool shit. I love Matt Wren. Shout out Matt Wren.
Oh yeah, no, he does more than I could ever dream to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I always he sent me a dark medicine shirt, and I didn't even ask for it. I was just curious about this one that he posted, and he's like, "What's your address?" And I was like, "Damn, dude, what a nice guy. I fucking love Matt Rand." Yeah, so anytime I sift through my shirts and I get to that dark medicine shirt, and I'm like, "All right, hope Matt's doing well."
Oh yeah, Matt, I love that dude. He just bought a house. Him and Anna just bought a house.
Don't dox him. Don't dox him. I said, don't dox him.
No, I won't. Yeah, he's doing great things. I work with him, so I see him every day.
I heard.
Oh yeah. Dude, you should get a job working at Axel.
Do you think I would do that? I can't do that. If I got a job, it'd be at Jerry's Pizza or fucking Good Fortune Printing.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, true. Good Fortune pays bills.
You see this right here? We got Good Fortune right here, right there.
Choice to make.
Yeah.
Do you have Fortune? Where is it?
He Nate printed these. There's a good. This is
Okay.
Yeah, he printed this, and then there's the Louis Vuitton Good Fortune shirt, 1 of 1, right behind that.
Oh, I love that. Nice.
Yeah, I remember I was nervous to ask Nate about it, and he was like, "Fuck yeah, like let's do it. This is crazy, but I'm down." So.
About you working at Good Fortune?
No. Sorry for printing on my Louis Vuitton shirt.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll wear it one day for like a very special occasion. But
yeah, well, when you come in next time,
maybe. Yeah.
Are you flying in?
Flying in, I got to make sure Jeff's going to be there.
Oh, are you staying at his place?
No, but I was going to stay with you, but I just want to make sure Jeff was going to be there.
Oh yeah, Jeff's gonna film it. I imagine if he doesn't.
Hey, if he doesn't, let me take over, because I got this really nice camera. You can't see it, but I got a really nice camera, brand new. It's a cinema camera, so that's why. For anyone, here's my plug to my YouTube. I just uploaded a new vlog today. It's looking very pro, more pro than before, and the quality is just gonna keep going up.
I love that. Nice.
Yeah, but I'm inspired by Jeff. Jeff answers all my questions, things that I don't even know about cameras. So I go to the expert.
Yeah, no, I mean, watching what he does, filming shows and stuff, like, he's given me so many rides to and from shows, and I've, like, seen him at work, and he's so good at what he does. It's cool.
You know what's crazy is he let me film this band from Texas. Shout out Jockey from Texas. But he was so worn out because he had filmed all of Hardcore Pride weekend. And then we went to New Jersey for a show at Cinco's. He filmed that show. And then that same day, we drove back to Media for a Ben Stuckey show that my friends in Stateside were playing. And he was so worn out. He was like, "Yo, Jamie," he's like, "I'm dying. Can you film this set?" And I was like, "Dude, just give me like the 60-second rundown on how to film with your rig and I'll make it happen." And he's like, "All right." He's like, "Just this is how you know if you're in focus or not. Just do that." And I'm like, "All right, cool." So I filmed the set. He uploaded the set. I think I got credits, but it was a very great insight to see what he does.
I did that for him a couple weeks ago, and I bet I didn't get any credit. I saved his life. Well, all right. So,
all right, expose him. Expose Jeff.
Gladly. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So, Story So Far played in New York at
Gold Towns.
Gold
Right?
Towns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which that room is tiny, and it was so hot in there. The air conditioning unit looked like a fog machine from how bad
That's
it
insane.
was.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm standing next to Jeff, like kind of huddled in the corner, and he's standing up on a chair. And at one point, he just starts like nodding his head a little bit. And then he looks at me and he's like, "I need you to take over because I'm about to black out." So I just grabbed the camera off of him and he just like hopped off the chair he was standing on and just like went outside. I won't tell any more of his story there, but I stood on the chair and just was like sweating profusely, like hoping that I wasn't screwing it up on him. I threw a couple nice zoom ins.
Okay, you got the manual zoom, and
I tried my best.
Yeah, and people don't realize how heavy his setup is. Like he's used to it, but like when I was holding the camera, I'm like, dude, you've been doing this for the past 3 days with this heavy ass camera. This is insane.
It's crazy. When he asked me to take it over, I just like grabbed it, not thinking anything of it, and then it instantly like weighed me down, and I was already so exhausted from how hot it was that I don't know how he does it, but
he's a maniac. Yeah, shout out Feet First. Go subscribe if you're not already.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, you want to hear a funny story? He'll probably hate that I'm telling this, but we were at LDB, right? So LDB's wrapped up, and Jeff needs help bringing some of his equipment to his car. So, and he parked fucking like far. I don't know why he didn't park in the lot, because he was there, or maybe that was the day he got there late. I can't remember. He got there late one day, but he like parked across the street in some random giant grass lot with like everybody else. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, where are we going? I'm like lugging these giant tripods across like this road, and we're like walking, and this like group of guys are like, hey, are you Feet First? And I was like, yeah, I'm Feet First. And they were like, dude, we love your channel. And they thought I was actually Feet First, because obviously, like, you know, Jeff's mainly behind the camera. He doesn't like to be in front of the camera.
How did Jeff like that?
He started laughing, and he let it go for a little bit. But then I was like, no, I'm just kidding. I'm like, this is actually Feet First. And then they were just like starstruck. They're like, oh my God, like we love your channel. We watch all your videos. And he was trying to be humble, but I'm like, no, pop your fucking shit, Jeff. Like, you fucking put in hard work. You put out quality videos. So, you know, this is fucking cool. Like, you know, like. Yeah,
I mean, he's been doing it a long time, ever since like I started playing shows in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And Andy is the other person who started that whole thing. You know, when I first started playing in bands and stuff, when they would come film us, it felt way cooler than what I deserved for them to be filming my shitty emo band in high school, you know? So, I don't know. Shout out to them for everything.
Yeah, but also, real quick, I'm curious about your experience to seeing Have Heart, because I didn't know that you'd never seen Have Heart till the other night.
Yeah. Was that your first time too?
100% my first time.
Yeah, I was supposed to see them at the first reunion, but Warren was on tour. We had an off day the day of that show, and I was going to go because we had an off day. We played Boston the night before, but it just didn't work out. Warren went down to Philly for the off day, and then we went to Richmond for a show that happened the day after the first Have Heart reunion. So I was heartbroken for a good 4 years until they announced that they were gonna do another one. So that was a long time coming.
It's kind of a trip when I think back that it's been that long from like that you know first reunion to this one. I was like, I didn't realize that much time has passed. It was kind of trippy to think about.
It's like 5 years apart, I think, or no, 4 years.
Yeah. No, it's 5 because they played 2019.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. Yeah, that's a trip, but it was great. I don't know. What was your?
I mean, it was definitely everything I thought it was gonna be. They were incredible. Like, it was.
Yeah.
What more is there to say about it? I mean, it was definitely one of the best live sets I've ever seen.
Yeah. So. Oh my God, they were so good.
Yeah.
It was everything I was hoping for
sure. And it was really cool that we were at the Brooklyn one too, because it was definitely seemed like the smallest one out of all the reunion shows that they did. So it felt more like a show experience than like Sound and Fury or type of thing. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, we've been talking a lot about Jeff. He wanted me to ask this very specific question.
Right now, like, did he just text?
No. This is I talked to him earlier. I actually, talked to him earlier. He wanted me to ask about Caleb, your first time listening to OK Buddy's Strays.
Yeah.
This is a sabotage. This is awesome.
It's fine. Jeff can't get to me or get me down or whatever. I don't care. If you're watching, Jeff, good try, bud. I notoriously fall asleep everywhere all the time.
Okay.
I just love sleeping more than most anything else.
And to your credit, you're a busy dude. You got a lot going on.
Thanks.
So
I asked.
I take zero. I take zero offense the whole time.
Yeah, we were on our way to play Syracuse. The Peace Corps was. Jeff was driving, or you were.
I was driving.
Jeff was in the passenger seat, and I asked Nate to put on OK Buddy's new EP
before it was released.
Yeah, okay. I instantly fell asleep, and it's not because of the record at all, but.
Just like I had no clue too because he was behind me. So then, like, you know, Jeff would make a remark, and again, I wouldn't put something on of my own unless someone would ask. You know what I mean? And then the whole time I'm thinking, man, Caleb's pretty quiet. You know, I mean, at the last song, I just like turned around and Jeff turned around and we're like, he's asleep.
But I do love that EP.
No, and it's all just like one of the funniest stories ever. It's all love. I took zero offense, but again, he's a busy dude. It was just very, very fun.
He takes offense. It's okay.
Yo, that's sick. That's so sick.
Yeah, get it in view.
There
Appreciate that a lot. Seriously, thank you.
Yeah, love the band. Huge fan.
Thank you. I mean, since we're kind of talking Wilkes-Barre, I mean, for real, that means a lot, seriously. But like, since we're talking about Wilkes-Barre, I mean, OK Buddy, number one, wouldn't be a band without Wilkes-Barre, and we wouldn't have, you know, we have never been supported by anyone like we have been by Wilkes-Barre. So we probably wouldn't have stayed a band as long as we have without Wilkes-Barre. So we don't play a lot of shows in the Lehigh Valley. We play most of our shows in Wilkes-Barre for home shows. So
that's awesome. Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I'm a fan. I've been to the Lehigh Valley once. I landed in the airport out there in Allentown, I think it is, right?
Yeah. That's cool.
No, Lehigh Valley is really sick. Actually, there's like a really cool, like just vibe out there. I would say like an energy, but like shows are sometimes really hit or miss out there as far as like this scene. But Laura from Controller, she's been booking some really cool shows out there and really keeping the DIY scene going out there. And that's actually our next show. Is she actually booked us at Centronia Fire Hall in Allentown, the Peace Corps. Yeah, so we'll be playing there the 8th of September.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, the 9th of August. I'm sorry, the 9th of August.
And I'm really excited because it's only an hour drive.
Yes.
And there's also vegan treats and vegan skate shop and a lot of other great things in Allentown, Lehigh Valley area. And bands too, because Controller, Last Man Out, they're all from there.
Yeah.
I would say Jesus Peace is technically originally from the Lehigh Valley. But I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe we can say that for another episode.
Okay, yeah. Sure.
What's going on?
No. It's Valley's cool. It's just the shows have been iffy here or there.
There was this one place. I didn't get to go to the show, and it's one of my biggest like time machine shows. There was this place in Allentown called the Secret Art Space, and it was literally like you walk into an alley, and there was like this shady door that if you didn't know what was up, you wouldn't think anything of it. And the show was Stick Together Ceremony, United Youth, And I want to say there was a fourth band, but I don't want to be wrong and say, like, if there was a fourth band, it's probably War Hungry, but I don't know. But yeah, Ceremony, Stick Together, and United Youth for sure. And
hell of a lineup.
Tiny, like, basement vibe venue, so.
Sounds wild. I want to know what's going on in Harrisburg. Do you guys know anything about the scene out there?
I mean, well.
That's definitely closer to where I'm moving from, but things are definitely hit or miss there also, just like the Lehigh Valley, I would say.
That new venue I'm excited to check out. That's where Skid Row Garage is, right?
No, so that's York. So that's Choice to Make's playing a show with Underdog in York. This Saturday. Yeah, it's near Harrisburg. It's probably like 30 minutes from Harrisburg.
Oh, okay.
But in Harrisburg, you have like, there's two different Love Drafts. There's JB Love Drafts, which is like a bar in downtown Harrisburg, really. And they have a lot of free shows. You get a lot of bar traffic, which is nice. And then you have the Love Drafts. No, I mean, you know the vibes, but there's another Love Drafts, which is not JB Love Drafts. It's just Love Drafts in Mechanicsburg, which is, I would say, it's a little bit more of a venue. Like Hot Water Music have recently played there with Quicksand. So they have a stage, like a decent, a really bigger stage, I would say, and like really nice sound equipment for a brewery, and much more room than the Harrisburg one. But Mechanicsburg is like 20 minutes from, not even. It's probably like 15 minutes from Harrisburg. But other than that, you have like HMAC, which you have like the downstairs room, which I see like little to no hardcore shows booked there at all anymore. I saw Scowl there like a few years ago. That was with Ankle Biter and Restraining Order. That I think is the last one of the last like smaller like hardcore. Yeah, like I don't even know who would be booking those shows, but like a lot of the other shows that happen at the HMAC are up in the big room, which is like where Wild Red opened up for Hot Mulligan. One Step Closer played there with Knuckle Puck last year. So like, so they get some of those bigger tours that roll through. It's just really interesting, like what shows do well there and what shows do not do well there, if that makes sense.
I'm a fan of that band Handguns that's from there.
Yeah, for sure.
From Harrisburg?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever heard.
They're definitely an interesting band. Yeah, they got some good stuff for sure. They're very pop punky. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and they're playing out here because they're playing like this. Like, there's like I'm sorry.
You're still playing music?
I'm just as surprised. Yeah, they're playing a show here. Hold on, I have to look it up now because this is like right up my alley. Like when I first moved to Orange County, I was like really into this girl. And this just sounds like really crazy, but she was friends with this guy who I don't really want to name. And he was just really weird, and he liked this girl that I liked, which were like whatever, like that happens, not a big deal. So she was like, hey, like, do you want to go to this Handgun show? And I was like, yeah, sure. So we go, and that guy's there, and he comes up to me and he's like, hey, I heard you like Handguns, like the merch company that I work for. We print all their merch. Like, give me your address. I'll send you everything that we have. And I was like, this is so weird because like I don't really know you. Like I only know that you like the girl that I'm here with. I don't know if like what he was trying to like do. Maybe he just wanted to like get my address to like stalk me or something. But he came through and he sent me so much free merch. It was insane. I was like, this is so weird.
I've heard that they have like a lot of leftovers or like there's like some weird situations. I don't think like the guys that are playing in the band, don't take my word for it, but I don't think the guys that are playing in the band or even like were playing in the band like recently are like original members. I think it's like switched hands, like if not once, like multiple times.
Honestly,
with like just some like leftover merch situation, they might just be like, yeah.
No. This was in their heyday. This was like years ago. This was like years ago.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, they were on tour. It was so weird. But yeah, they're playing out here in like the beginning of September.
Oh, that's wild.
yeah, it was so strange. I was like, I don't know why they're coming out here, but I will be there to see them because I really like that band. Might not be as good as I remembered, but I want to go just in case it is.
I have to also revisit. It's been a long time since I've listened to them.
Yeah, strange times. But that's why I think of them when I think of Harrisburg, because like all the merch that I have from them, so it's like Harrisburg, PA.
Yeah,
nice.
For sure.
It's sick that they shout that out too. I can think of a lot of bands that come from not a major city that would claim their hometown until it didn't like help them out as a band anymore, and then they would start claiming the major city that was near the small town that they came from. So I respect any band that will rep anything smaller than like New York, Philly, DC.
Like
LA.
shout out Lead Spirit. Like they're from Nebraska. I'm like 90% sure. Like,
Yeah.
Is that where they're from?
Omaha.
Or yeah, some like
yeah.
some Midwestern state. It's Nebraska or something like that. Yeah. It's and like I love that so much.
They rep the fuck out of it.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like wherever you're from, if you love it, rep it. Like that's so cool.
Yeah, that's what I think when I look at your shirt, Nate. False Salvation. They're repping real Philly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I just went to their first show a little bit ago, and it was awesome. So if you get a chance to see that band, definitely see that band.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out Marty for sure.
There's a back print on that shirt, right?
Yeah, it says Philadelphia Hardcore with the Rebirth logo, I think,
cool.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can see, I can't see myself on the screen.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I need to track down one of those. The episode that I recorded with the singer will be out by the time this drops. But yeah, had on Kev Hare. Shout out.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of that band. Huge fan of Rebirth Records. I love what Bob Wilson does with the label.
Dude, yeah. That bullshit record is so good.
Rebirth has just like put out so many insane, like that Steamroller.
Steamroll.
Yeah. Incredible demo. Like, and the Face the Pain demo, like probably number one demo for me this year. Like that demo was just unbelievable. Like Rebirth is just killing it right now.
I'm so glad that like early 2000s like locking out Ozzy numbers era style is back, becoming popular again. Like I don't know. I grew up especially with the Wilkes-Barre connection to that style.
Mm-hmm.
Like grew up loving that, and now being able to see bands that are new and inventive still paying homage to that era. It's really cool. And Steamroll does it better than most. Steamroll and All for All, in my opinion, are doing it the best right now.
All for All, seriously.
Yeah. Great band.
Yeah, Syracuse in general. That's a great point. Like when we played Syracuse, like that was my first time there, and just like seeing the authenticity of that scene, it was very, very cool. Like they had a really, really awesome thing up there in Syracuse.
100%. Yeah, I've had on Dylan from Deal with God on a couple times just to talk about Syracuse hardcore because I love his passion for the scene, and I just love watching, just from the outside looking in, it's just so sick. And Trail of Lies came back this year. That's something I wasn't expecting. Yeah. So it's just, I guess,
I have to listen to that new record.
I listened to it on the way to Half Part the other day, and it's so good.
Listen to some of the singles, not the whole album.
Yeah.
That's
has some sick features on it, and just like heavy as fuck. It's really good. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, that band's sick. So yeah, Syracuse hardcore is just so awesome. I'm a fan. That's why I always like having Dylan on, just to hear about it and just to talk about what's going on. And just like keep an eye on all the bands that are
coming out from up there, and then even just the types of shows that they're putting on, right? It's like,
I mean, so I was at the jam. It was called Sunday in the Park. Lucas booked that. Him, Dylan, Colin, Spatty, like those guys really like spearhead that scene. And going to the skate jam that Lucas did there, just that like very tight-knit family energy that I got was so cool. And just like how welcoming everyone is and inclusive that scene is. Wilkes-Barre takes a lot of inspiration from what those guys are doing. So
yeah. And with the skate jam, I'm sure you're seeing like a lot of like younger people come out. How is it out there trying to get new kids to want to get involved and start bands or just start anything to keep the scene alive out there?
I mean, I don't know if any of the kids that come into the shop that listen to hardcore or like any of the kids that have been coming to shows are watching or listening or whatever, but they are making it so difficult to them because they always come up to me at the shop or like at a show complaining about how they can't find kids to start a band with.
Mm-hmm.
But when like 20 different kids are saying that, it's driving me nuts because I literally made a group chat with a couple kids at the shop, and I literally just messaged like start a band, and then I left the chat. So I like have been trying to just like hand it to them, and I don't know. I think it's going to happen soon enough. I just think that there is a level of intimidation and a level of like anxiety that comes with like starting your first hardcore band, especially now because I feel like there's a major energy of like everyone's first hardcore band has to be the one that gets a booking agent and has to do like cross country tours and world tours and play festivals, and like that's not the case.
It's not realistic. Yeah,
it's not realistic, and also I don't think I would want it to be either. Because a lot of what I've learned about playing shows and traveling and touring and like booking shows or whatever started with being in my first shitty band that was struggling to get a show outside of Wilkes-Barre area. And also there's a strong level of appreciation that comes with that because you know what it was like to be in a band with no notoriety going to a band that can now like travel and like experience bigger crowds and stuff like that, so I don't know, hopefully more kids start that. But I will say no exceptions, they're playing the skate jam this year. Those dudes are so sick because I remember the bass player of that band, his name's Decker. At the first skate jam, all of us were like blown away seeing this kid like rip more than most of the other people there. And we were like, who the fuck is this kid that like we have never seen before showing up everyone else? And usually what will happen is like there will be crossover between skaters and like punk kids at the skate jam, but they stay in their own lanes a little bit where it's like kids that are skating will stay for the bands, but they're not going to be the ones up front moshing and going off. And vice versa, show kids will be going off to the bands, but they'll just be like standing around watching kids skate during the day. But this Decker kid was ripping. And then when like bands started playing like End It and OSC and Warren, like he was nonstop like moshing and going off. And I was seeing him at Philly area shows constantly. And then I want to say it was like 2 months ago, Distort played Philly with Mil Spec and Collateral. It was one of the best.
That demo.
One of the best hardcore bands.
EP.
Yeah. Well, both.
Yeah. The demo is awesome too. The EP they released this year, again, another one of my favorite demos.
So good. But No Exceptions played that, and when I saw like Andrew, who runs the like Delaware scene, and then Decker, that like little kid that was ripping at the jam and then like going off for bands, he showed up with the bass, and I was like, dude, I got so hyped because I was like, that kid is like the coolest, just genuinely loving skating and hardcore and all that stuff. So I'm very hyped for that band to play.
Well, yeah, if you know, it kind of, the skate jam kind of helped push this kid to come to the scene, and now is in a band and playing the skate jam. I think that's cool, like definitely full circle for someone like that. But I can imagine how awesome it is to kind of be like, okay, cool, like maybe what we're doing here is actually having a positive effect on the young kids coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I definitely can't take credit for. I don't think that's what got him into shows. I think, but
that is a cool thing, though.
It's awesome that he was there. So.
No. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. I thought you were done. I do think that, like, on the subject of new kids, like, at least from the little time that I've experienced, like booking shows and like just really taking into account like who is coming to shows, like it seems to me right now that we have more of an influx of new kids than we have for a little bit, at least in my opinion.
Yeah,
and like kids that are just coming to shows, just at least from what I see, just most of them. You know what I mean? Like it's not like they just go to one band because they like the band or it's the big band or whatever.
Yeah,
like consistently going out to shows, like high school age
show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like inviting their friends. It's. I've seen a lot more of that recently, in my opinion. It's been really cool to see that.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, there was a Strength for Reason show back last Labor Day weekend.
That was the first show at Doug's, right?
Yeah. So it was the first show at Doug's, and I remember looking around and looking at TK and Matt, Ryan, and Nate. Not you, Nate.
No.
Sorry, but other Nate. And we were all just like, who are half of these fucking people? And that is the best feeling when you've been going to shows in an area for a long time. And especially when you start booking shows and playing shows. Well, I mean, I've been playing shows and you have forever, but booking shows in an area and seeing a lot of fresh faces is always, I think, a good omen, a sign that your area is going in the right direction.
Yeah, I feel like when you show up and there's a bunch of faces you don't recognize, it could either be a good thing or a bad thing, but you hope it's good, right? Because these faces that you don't recognize could be the future, right? The next promoter, the next zine creator, podcaster, starts the next crop of bands. So
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the really cool thing about it is I don't know, everyone had to go to their first show at some point, and you never know what can come from it. So
yes, because when I went to my first show, I was like, I hope I like this. The music sounds crazy. Hope this is a good time.
Nice.
And
what brought you to your first show? Do you remember?
It's Terror. I wanted to see, my first real hardcore show, because I went to a bunch of local shows. I got to see local bands like Marshmallow Forest Fire. Back this is back in the day, old local bands. Involves Murder, Warhol, stuff like that from where I grew up in the Palm Springs area. But those were cool. But my first I feel real hardcore show was I got to see Terror, and I was just blown away. I was like, this is insane. I love this. I want more. And and I've never stopped. This was early 2000s, 2002, 2003, and here we are in 2024.
Dude, it's crazy. it flies by, and I feel like that's the coolest thing about seeing fresh faces at a show is like the potential that's there for one of them to be the person to bring like the next like posse numbers to this area, or to be, and I mean not in their own way. Like I'm not a big fan of like literally recreating the past, but I think it's really cool that there's that potential when like new kids start coming to shows that one of them might start a band that really inspires a lot of people, or books a fest or a show or consistent shows that bring a lot of people to Wilkes-Barre Scranton. And I think that's super important because same crew of people can't be doing it forever, you know?
No.
You need that
Change
constant
of the guard.
cycle. Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Booking shows and a lot of times like people booking shows or just playing shows too, because it's just like how you get into the world, you know what I mean? So like when you're doing that for a long time, I'm sure it can get easily like just kind of like I need someone else to take over for a little bit. I need a break.
I think I've said I'm never booking another show after every show I've ever
I've said that a few times.
Even the best ones I would end it with, that was really cool, but I think this is it for a long time. And then a band I like hits me up, and then I backpedal.
Which, speaking of, it's cool when bands ask to play Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah.
That's the coolest thing.
That's always, even if it doesn't work out, like if the date doesn't work out or whatever, if a band is touring and they think of playing Wilkes-Barre, whenever a band hits me up asking to play a show and it doesn't work out, I just tell them like, sorry, that date doesn't work, but if you still need a place to stay or recommendations for food spots or like anything in this area, just let me know. Because the fact that they cared enough about this area to like ask to play, that means so much that, you know, I want those people to feel welcome to this area. So
that is amazing, because I tell people all the time, you know, every scene that I've been to, I've always looked at your scene as like the scene that is always treated me like I'm from there. Everyone there has always treated me so nice and always kept it real. So I feel like that's why I love going there. And I was always I always trip out like when I think about that area, because being such a fan of it before I even knew anybody on a personal level from there, and then going there and now actually having like real friends from there, I'm just like, wow, this could have gone like the other way, right? Because there's no guarantee that I was going to get along with so many people from out there. So the fact that I have is I'm sorry.
I was just saying that vibe that you're describing about Wilkes-Barre is exactly what I was saying earlier about that's exactly what drew me to it. Exactly.
Yeah, because I've been to a lot of places, and Wilkes-Barre is always at the top of my list where I want to go. I always like to give praise, to people like Nate Prosciutti, Matt Wren, Shane, Jeff, who we've talked about, a lot on this episode. I'm just love those people, and stoked, and I can't wait to be back. Whatever that is.
If you're able to make it out to the end of summer skate jam, I mean, you're obviously more than welcome to stay at my place, and I don't know, we'd all be hyped to see you again. So
yeah, we got to get Nate Prosciutti to roll out.
Oh yeah, well, he'll be there. I had to think about it for a second, but yeah, he's definitely gonna be there. Yeah. I know, like, for a while, you were talking about flying out, and I was, like, hesitant to tell you that was a good idea, but that was literally just because this year has been a little tough organizing it. But now that we have a headlining band and, like, a set plan and ideas and all of that, I don't think it would be a wasted trip now. I think there will be something for you to do. You know, so
100%. No, I'll be there. I'm booking my flight. What's today? Monday? Wednesday. I'm booking my flight Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Sick. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds.
I will.
We have a rain plan set too, so that's not a concern. Just throwing that out there.
Okay. I will be there with my camera, just in case your plan A for filmer doesn't work out. I'll be ready to step up if you need me.
Tell Jeff that.
I always try to tell Jeff to take me with him. I'm like, dude, just let me film with you. And he, you know, we had a real conversation one time, and he was just like, this isn't just fun. he like got kind of serious. He's like, this isn't just fun, Jamie. This is real work. He's like, do you really think you can do this? And then I was like, no. I was like, honestly, I wouldn't want to do that because I'm trying to, mosh and stage dive, and I can't do that if I have to film all the sets with you.
I remember. I don't know how we are on time. I don't want to like take up too much years, but I remember at America's Hardcore this past December, he was there just every day. I was only there the one day, but I saw him from like the very beginning in the morning all the way till the end. Just hours of him standing there filming sets and knowing he was doing that all weekend. I like grabbed him food because I was like, it was like dinner time, and I was like, are you hungry at all? And he was like, I haven't eaten since like before yesterday or something. And I was like, oh shit. So I grabbed him food, and he set his food down, and instantly a security guard yelled at him. And they were like, that space is being used for something. I'm like, oh my God, he can't catch a break.
That is comedy.
So.
All right.
Also,
well,
shout out Roxy's in Boston, or Cambridge, technically.
I love Cambridge. It's really nice.
Yeah. So next time you're there, go to Roxy's for food.
Roxy's. Okay.
And pinball too.
Well, I could go on forever about how awesome Jeff is, but but unfortunately, I got to wrap things up. But before we go, is there anything else you guys would like to say?
I mean, if you're a touring band and you need a place to play Wilkes-Barre. I mean, you don't have to, but
we'll do our best.
We love Wilkes-Barre, and there's more than enough capable people to make something happen for you.
All right.
Now we got some venues that are options, you know what I mean? And
yeah, shout out Grumps.
Yeah, it's really thriving in a way of its own, I think. And if you're coming out to shows, keep coming out to shows.
Shop Sunny, Bazaar.
Yeah.
The Riot. Okay, Buddy.
Peaceful.
Coffee Garden. Oh well, yeah. I don't know. That's all I got. If I think of
choice to make.
Oh, also sound clips. Gorilla Biscuits, the horns that are right before New Direction, those are from a Cheech and Chong movie. Also, a legendary sound clip, even though it's not taken from something, but the beginning of the Warzone record is one of the coolest bits in a hardcore record ever. And also shout out to Steamroll for paying homage to that. So, I don't know, that's all I got.
All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate your time. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be back soon. Goodbye.